The federal government is strategically pulling out the military from parts of the country with an assurance to residents of volatile areas that the government will not abandon them. The withdrawal of troops will be done after an assessment to determine areas where peace has returned to enable civil authorities to assume full control of security. So you ask, what are the implications of this decision? My guest will be looking at that in this week's episode of the program. Hello there and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Ibrahim Adra. The influx of people from states across the country into the nation's capital is affecting the flow of vehicles, especially in the city center. We'll be looking at the Abuja traffic management system. In the interview segment, a former director in the Department of State Service speaks about the plan to withdraw troops from parts of the country. But first, what are those stories that made the headline within the week in the nation's capital?
President-elect of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, paid a thank-you visit to President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House. President-elect Embalo, a businessman turned politician, was Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau under incumbent President Jose Mario Vaz between 2016 and 2018. He formally invited President Buhari to be the guest of honor at the presidential inauguration next month.
They give me good advice. You know, President Buhari is somebody who all of us will respect in Africa, and I keep his advice. Is why he's one of the first country I visit here to take his advice, because we know President Buhari. We respect him a lot in Africa because he's a correct man, gentleman, and Pan-Africanist man. Is why I'm here. I am his son. So don't forget President Buhari. I can't call him President Buhari. I already tell him, I'm going to still keep calling Baba.
President Muhammadu Buhari says those declared winners by the Independent National Electoral Commission must be the candidates chosen by the people. The president gave the charge to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu.
The commission has already fixed the 25th of January, that is in the next 19 days, for the conduct of the court-ordered rerun elections. And we are ready for these elections. But in addition, we met with His Excellency Mr. President, who has reiterated his commitment to ensuring that the processes are free and fair and the environment secure. The Commission is concerned.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is again criticizing the way security officers were deployed during the 2019 general elections and the governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. He reiterated his displeasure during an expanded meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. Those at the meeting included the National Security Advisor, General Babagana Monguno, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu. The Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, and Chief of Air Staff were all represented at the meeting. Others at the meeting included representatives of the Customs Service, Immigration Service, Correctional Service, as well as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
The Commission is concerned that security deployment in some of the most recent elections left much to be desired. There is more emphasis on numbers of security personnel to be deployed, but less consideration on strategic deployment to protect the process, leaving voters, election officials, party agents, observers, the media, and even unarmed security personnel at polling units vulnerable to attack by thugs and hoodlums. Furthermore, there is emphasis on numbers of security personnel, but less on synergy, coordination, and collaboration among the various security agencies in line with the purpose for which excess was established in the first instance. We must adopt a different approach to election security. Going forward, INEC has decided that although the Commission has no power under the law to cancel an election, it will not proceed with the process in any constituency where the safety of voters, our personnel, and election materials is threatened. Furthermore, collation of results will not proceed where the collation centers are invaded. No declaration of winners will be made where returning officers are threatened.
The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Bola TINUBU, says the task of nation building should take priority over the search for a successor for President Buhari in 2023. He spoke to State House correspondents after a private meeting with President Buhari.
I was in the trench. I was in the struggle for democracy. I was in the trench and in opposition to a thought-time agenda of a former leader of this country with Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. President. I know he will never. He has the courage and the character to refuse such a temptation, even if offered to him. I believe in him, and I believe Nigerians should, believe in him. Restlessness of politics is going to be there, but any lover of this country will not talk about the succession plan yet. That's the truth. Concentrate on working for the country, help the country, help the president to help the country. It's not anything more than that. We cannot, 360 degrees, 365 times in a year work on politics. It is not possible. Anybody talking about that now, just complete restlessness, and they are not focused on the agenda of the nation building and development.
The Supreme Court has affirmed the elections of 4 governors in a unanimous judgment of a 7-man panel led by Justice Olabode Rhodes Vivo. The court upheld the elections of the governors of Abia, Delta, Niger and Taraba states after listening to separate appeals on the outcome of the elections in their states. President Muhammadu Buhari is urging members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, to assist the federal government in realizing the target of improving education and credible certification by complying with the ongoing verification and validation of human resources. The president made the appeal when he met with the leadership of the union. Those in attendance at the meeting included the Ministers of Labor and Productivity, Education, Finance and Budget Planning, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Honestly, I believe we need your support in this particular direction to ensure that the remaining 40% that are not registered are registered as quickly as possible so that we can have a uniform system of operation, and we will be able to say for certain how many people are working in particular establishments that are entitled to be paid.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is denying any immediate plan to hike electricity tariffs. Addressing a news conference, the chairman of the commission, Professor James Momo, explains that the review of the multi-year tariff order does not mean an immediate increase in tariff for electricity consumers.
There is no immediate increase in tariff for customers. Number two, write it carefully. The proposed tariff review, is what we are mandated to do as a regulator. We are to do it twice a year. We've done the first one around June. January is here, thank God. That is when we have no other option but to do our job. Now, don't take us for granted, we must do our job. We have done the review, and it's subject to public consultation. In the next 3 months, Dr. Arabi, the entire commissioners, and myself will be running from place to place to inform you, to engage you, just like we've done our job for consultation.
The federal government wants the National Broadcasting Commission to immediately implement the 70% local content in broadcast under the new broadcast regulations. A statement from the Office of the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, explains that the directive became necessary following the submission of the report of the committee set up to work out the modalities for implementing the recommendations approved by the President. The Nigerian health sector has recorded a major breakthrough as a team of doctors at the National Hospital Abuja successfully separated twins that were conjoined in the chest and lower abdomen. Addressing journalists at the hospital's trauma center, the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehanire, says the breakthrough will help restore the confidence of Nigerians in the nation's health sector and reduce the number of Nigerians traveling abroad for medical treatment.
A part of the reason for medical tourism is, as you hear people say, they believe that they have no confidence in the health sector here. They believe we don't have the specialists, we don't have the equipment. This case has shown that a lot of equipment is present here, and that we also have the expertise